The Sentinel is known to be reliable, fearless, disciplined, consistent, courageous, motivated, and skillful.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
All these qualities start from the mind. Your mind can be your worst enemy or your most powerful weapon.
The world becomes your library to help you become better at your craft.
Is this the dagger?
Learn how to achieve greatness and tap into the Sentinel mindset.
This episode is brought to you by The Arena. The Arena focuses on helping law enforcement and security professionals achieve their ultimate work experience, curriculum, and fitness goals. Visit thearenatoronto.com.
Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to this amazing session of the Sentinel Mindset. I got a very special guest. I can't even call him just a guest. I got to call him a friend, a fellow colleague, and one heck of an inspirational individual. I'm talking about the one and the only Chris Pinto. Now, who is Chris Pinto? Before we start getting into it, Chris is someone that I met, I'm going to probably say 2009. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say. And I met him working, it was probably my very first exposure working in proper security. We'll get into that. And Chris has also had a very successful career in the security industry. He has his own agency, Upper Echelon Services, also known as UES. Okay, and to go even further, Chris also has worked with the Toronto Raptors and the 905 as a assistant manager team security. And he's done a phenomenal job. He's very well received in the security industry, very well known, has done very high level training with people like Elijah Shaw. Okay, he has a vast background, and I'm so glad. But there's also something here. There's also something that we're going to talk about that happened in Chris's life that changed the game, and he used this to his advantage, and it has elevated him to someone even higher today. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a warm welcome for Mr. Chris Pinto. Chris, what's going on, buddy?
Thank you, man. How you doing, Constantine? It's
Amazing,
been a while,
man.
brother.
It has been, man.
It's been a very long time, man. It's good to be here finally.
It really is, man. And I'll tell you this, Chris. Going back to 2009 when we worked, you never had that beautiful beard that you have going on right now.
I absolutely did not. That's crazy.
You know what I mean? And that's the end thing, and it suits you. It really does.
Thank you. Yeah, it's for me, it's a sign of the growth and maturity that I've gone through.
Okay, nice, man.
You know, it's been a while. It's been a long road, but you know, we've took it in stride, and we've made do with it.
Yeah, man.
It's pretty much all you can really ask for, you know. Amazing. So yeah, but it's good to be here, brother.
Good, man.
You know, it's good to be on this platform. This is amazing.
Thank you.
Just proud of all what you guys have accomplished. This is amazing, man.
Amazing, man. Yeah. Thank you. And look, and it is a platform where we can kind of like talk about, share stories, but also elevate the mindset. Because Chris, one thing I can tell you right now, I've noticed this. I'll just ask you off the get-go. I've noticed in the last 2 or 3 years that the mindset for many individuals, I'm not just talking in the protection industry, just in general, has weakened. And have you noticed that at all?
I have. You know, with COVID and all, like it's been quite a bit for a lot of people to handle. Not sure how to pivot, not sure how like what to do in this uncertain time. It was a lot for a lot of people, you know, and it either sent you one way or the other, right? And I feel like for the majority of people, they only either had the option of going, you know, the one way. So thankful to, you know, to have found my way.
Right.
You know, and anybody else that's around me, you know, that's what we're here to do, to assist them. Amazing. To be who you needed, right?
Amazing. Yeah. Chris, let's go back 2009. Okay.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. Now, in 2009, why that year is so defining for me, and maybe as I'm talking, it might trigger some memories because we're going back, is because that was when I was working for the city of Toronto and they went on strike. And in that time frame, I needed to find work. And that's when I got connected through many circles to a gentleman named Cassius, who had a company called Echelon Services. And before I got to Cassius, I worked for many different security entities. And I kept on thinking, what's happening here? Like, why is security looking like this? Why is there just anyone that can get hired? Where's the presentation? Where is the, you know, the class, the whole 9 yards? And when I came to Cassius, I remember my very first meeting with him. We went to, there was a bar right beside lobby. It was like a Firkin almost kind of thing.
Yeah, just on
Gabby's.
The right.
Is it Gabby's?
Yeah, on the right.
I remember we sat inside there, and I was wearing Fat Farm jogging pants.
No way.
And I remember, and like just like baggy sweaters.
Yeah.
And he was dressed like $1 million to the nines. And I remember he looked at me and he says, "You want to work for me and you look like this?" And I had an Echo hat on. I looked like the stereotypical idiot. Okay, sorry. And I thought to myself, wow. He says, "You need to come looking correct." And I went out and I bought a suit. However, the suit jacket was probably 3 times the size of what I was wearing. And he said to me, "What are you wearing?" He goes, "You need to have your suit tailored to you." And I looked at his nails and they were all like polished and manicured. And I looked at his beard and he was all, to me, it's like, wow, like this guy is the image of security.
Yes.
And he had the signature blue ties, right? The branding perspective. Yeah. And a lot of people may not know this, but the presentation that I chose for Sentinel was based on, he had a blue tie. I remember thinking, maybe I should get a blue tie. I don't want to bite that guy.
Right.
Let me choose. And it just came onto red tie. Right?
Nice.
And then it was the suit image. And that we adopted a lot of those practices, the man's presentation, the appearance of what a gentleman is, the whole 9 yards. That was from him. Yep. And I'm talking with you, I didn't realize that was having the same effect on you.
It had the exact same effect. So 2009, that was that year that I transitioned into that level of security, I'd say, because otherwise it was bouncing just before that.
Right.
We were in the, what I like to call, the shits, the suck.
Yes.
We were fighting every weekend, and it was just, it was a mess.
Right.
And actually at that time, even I'd even say my work ethic wasn't even kind of the greatest, because we'd have to fight every weekend.
Right.
So I'm not sitting here concerned about customer service. I'm not sitting here concerned about really anything other than, in case something happens, I'm ready. It's go time. Mm-hmm. So I'd be wearing a hoodie to work, to the venues, and the owners would be getting at me based on how I look, and I'm like, well, my uniform doesn't have any bearing on how I do my job.
Right.
That was my mindset then. Right. Working with Cassius and coming up in 2009, that was such a culture shock almost to me, because I realized I didn't have to work as hard as I was working. Everything that I did prior to that allowed me to just have my night and work and go home. And it was great. The clientele allowed us to actually do that, which is another thing.
Yeah.
But, having that feel good, look good feeling, or look good, feel good feeling, it expanded to everybody,
yes.
Especially at the door.
Right.
As soon as guys came to the door, they seen what we look like at the door. They're not in here to cause no issues. It was a mindset, and that was great, because that's really where it started, and that was 2009 TIFF.
Yes.
That's where kind of the egg started, the seed planted in my head for UES lifestyle management.
Right.
And that's the reason why we took the lifestyle management part of it, because we wanted to bring something different to the security world, different to the clientele that we're serving. And it was exactly as Cassius had it.
That
was such a breath of fresh air to really see that.
100%.
Because as I said, it was every weekend we were getting busy, and I was getting tired of it.
and Chris, do you remember the representation of who was working for him was like, you came in correct.
100%.
You did not and he had an incredible representation of people. Yeah. Dream
team. And again, everybody took the time to make sure they looked amazing before they came into the shift. Well, none of this coming in when your shift starts and you're getting ready. No, you came in ready to go. You're walked in ready to go.
That's right, man.
Right.
And another thing I noticed was that his relationship with his clients, they really, really respected him.
Yes.
Right. And it was like, this is security.
Yeah.
Like I remember I asked him this, and I want you to understand the mindset. And by the way, I think the mindset that I had in 2009 is shared by a lot of the general public today. I said to him, "So what do you do for a living?" And he says to me, "Security." I go, "Okay, I get it." I said, "What I mean during the day, what do you do as your day job?" And he looked at me again. He goes, "Security."
Yeah.
And I had a hard time registering that, because the reason why is my exposure to security before Cassius was, this is a joke.
Right. Okay.
This is all a joke.
Right.
Look who you have working in environments, in lounges, in commercial. Like, how can that be serious?
100%.
So for me, to ask him those questions, I was being truly like genuine.
Yeah.
It was like, what do you do? Is like, I don't know. How can this be a job?
Yeah.
Full time, right?
Yeah.
So when he said that to me again, it sparked a lot of like emotions, and it sparked a lot of things where I got involved full time into Sentinel was when I approached Brian who's my partner now, into coming to the game. So it's good that we share that, okay? And to this day, maybe it's a good transition. Upper Echelon Services. First of all, I love the name.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and I see your social media, you truly resemble that. But what I also love about it is that you kind of give like this like indirect love shout out to Toronto.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And about like, you know, the this is the scene that we're in.
Yeah.
And you kind of bring the culture into it
Yeah.
as well. How did it all start with that?
So, again, I didn't have anybody to, well, with the exception of Earl.
Yes.
From Century back in the day, Carl,
Yes.
and Cassius. There was really nobody else that really put me under the shoulder to kind of show me the opportunities or the possibilities of what security, what you can do in this industry. So, you know, going back then, it was really, for me, it was really a moment of like clarity to really see where I could take this. But the whole part of the lifestyle management side to it, that was really where I needed to kind of make my way. Because again, we're working at the door, and you have head doormen that aren't necessarily in tune with what's going on in the city. You know, they're letting in this crew and that crew, and then now we're inside, we got to deal with them. You know, a lot of it starts before that. Right. So it was really a lot of that just drove me to like kind of figure another way.
Did you always have like a business entrepreneur bug inside you? Or because, you know, like
I used to be like the jack of all trades. I did a lot of things.
Okay.
Like I wanted to be, I wanted to be a rapper.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a mixed martial arts fighter. So I wanted to be in the NBA. Like I wanted to do everything. So everybody always said, you know, a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
But the one thing that's always been there for me was security.
Okay.
Oddly enough. So since 2003.
Yes.
2003 is when I kind of got in. This is when I was working at Palladium, and they had their concerts, their events.
Yeah.
Providing security, getting my friends to assist long before licenses came in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You're right. So
Yeah.
we're, you know, I'm helping them set up, and, you know, we have overnight security and doing that sort of thing. So it's kind of always been in me. I am the oldest of 10, so I've always been
10?
Yeah, I'm the oldest out of 10.
Wow.
So I've always been a protector. So I guess it kind of just came out of me, but like innately, the opportunities, the environment, the experiences, it just kind of pushed me into my purpose. Because like I said, like even back then, it's something that's always been there. The nightclubs, I worked for G4S for quite some time. We're at OPG head office. So like that was like consistent work, like Continental Swing.
Right.
And then from there, I'd go straight to the nightclub.
Okay.
I wouldn't even go home, shower, change, go straight to the nightclub.
Right.
Maybe come back, sleep overnight.
Yeah.
Start for 7 a.m.
Right.
And I did that for probably about 4 years. So security has been something that's always been there. And I remember, this is a crazy story. This kind of goes into how this all started. 2009, when we had this, all our seeds were planted, the wife says to me, why don't you start a security company? You have all the connections and all the contacts. I'm like, I don't know how to use them. So what do? I go start a car magazine. I'm into cars and Hondas and tuners, and which was great. So that entrepreneur experience has kind of always been there.
Okay.
But the focus wasn't.
Okay.
Right. The focus wasn't. My mindset was not there. You know, and a couple years later to my accident, I really think that was the catalyst.
Okay, we're going to get into that accident. We're going to get into that.
Yeah.
So before we go there, let me ask you this, Chris. Have you always, you said I've always been a protector because you're the oldest of the 10, right?
Yeah.
Have you always identified in the sense of like, I'm a protector, or is it something that you just naturally did that you tapped into? Let me explain why I'm trying to kind of help you formulate this answer.
Yeah.
When I went to actually Miami for my very first symposium from Byron Rogers.
Right.
And we were in this room, and he had a whole bunch of people there. It was obviously mostly Americans. And they were all talking and sharing experiences. And they kept on identifying themselves as protectors. Okay.
Right.
And, you know, one of the things that just, the genuine heart was, I want to help people. And this was not something that, they're not there for an interview. They're not trying to say words. Genuinely, they want to help other people. It is their actual right to do that. And as they're talking and explaining and telling stories, I started realizing, I'm a protector by
Yeah.
everything that they're describing. I started going into like self-reflection,
Yeah.
everything I've done in my life.
very real.
I'll see a fight happening. My wife will be like, where are you going? Bam, I'm in there.
Yeah.
But she'll say to me afterwards, why did you do that?
Yeah.
Why did you could have got hurt. I go, I don't know what it is. There's something inside me. I have to
Yeah,
stop it.
100%.
So to me, like, that's how I identified myself as a protector. It wasn't that I always called myself a protector. Did you have anything at all that helped you get to that like trigger point thing? Like, or was it just something you just naturally did?
I think it was something I just naturally did. Like, actually, you know, like truth be told, it comes from fear. It stems from fear. You know, I wasn't always a big guy.
Yeah.
You know, had bullies when I was young,
Right.
things like that. But, you know, facing your fears or finding your edge and leaning past it, I think that was a big choice, a big decision that I made from a young age to kind of face those things. So leaning into these moments, right, allows you to kind of build your confidence and really find out who you are, you know, truly, your moral compass and things of that nature. And I think that's what kind of guides us into the fire.
Okay.
You know, more so than saying, you know, I even just consciously saying, I want to help somebody. Like your heart and soul tells you these things. Like you can't really sit there and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So with that being said, like, you know, I've never liked having my siblings by the subway.
Right.
You know, I'm there doing this. Like
Right.
these things come from fear,
Yes.
but it also pushes that fight or flight out of you. So, you know, you naturally arise to the occasion.
Right.
And I think that's really where it comes from. So,
Nice.
you know, rising to the occasion and gaining that confidence, again, being who you needed, because that was another thing, being who you needed coming up, that's huge.
Okay.
Right. So I
Okay.
think just, you know, being a big brother to people, that's really, and
And
there
now,
you have it.
now being the leader of your
Yeah.
organization,
Yes.
right? You know,
Yeah.
you've completely embraced that on a much bigger scale. What would you say have been some of the most rewarding things that you've done with your organization?
Truthfully, I and not to say that I haven't had a lot of time to reflect. I have moments with my guys,
Yeah.
quite a bit, and everybody's individual. They come to me in a sense for their own reasons,
Right.
for their own purposes, and I feel like I'm here to just do that and just help them, guide them on their path. And you know, some guys are here; they need extra money,
Right.
but I like to tell them, like, you guys don't understand what it took for me to get here.
So you pour into them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
100%. Like, you know, and I tell them, you know, being around me, you're going to end up believing in yourself.
Yeah.
100%.
And by the way, Chris, just by sometimes pictures can tell a million words. I can tell just by looking at some even of your postings that you have a good culture within the team, right? It's like a family culture kind of thing that
100%.
you work together, you're a team, you're one unit.
100%. And that's how we came up with our team, you know, even at Lobby, like it was tight.
Yes.
Right. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where your post was.
Right.
We knew that this building was locked down. We knew we all had each other's back. And I think that's important, obviously, within this industry, that family orientation. And I think that's, for me, where it goes back to just trying to show people the light. You know what I mean? I did a lot of the legwork, no pun intended, already.
Yeah.
But my guys can benefit from all of that. You know what I mean? And it's here so that you don't have to go through kind of the things that I went through to get to where you need to go.
Okay. No, that's good,
Right?
man. You know, you've been in the scene, you've been in the game, you've seen how things are running, you see many other entities. You know, we're both operators.
Yes.
What would you be considered as one of your pet peeves of the industry? And there's something that you'd like to have changed. If you had the authority to sit down with the Solicitor General's office and say, man, it would be good if this happened to change the game, to elevate it, to make it better. Is there anything at all that crosses your mind?
So that's probably like a two-part, because talking about the powers that be, and then, you know, the boots on the ground, there's work to be done on both sides.
Okay.
I feel like, you know, up at the top, maybe just a little bit more, I wouldn't even say a little bit more regulation, organization in terms of the industry, but I think that keep to a standard.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of companies, it's a big business.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of money on the table for wherever you go in this industry. Just keep it tight. Keep a standard, you know, for our staff and ourselves. And I think forever the industry will be where it needs to be. Because, you know, you get these things where you talk to clients and it's like, oh, well, this is what you're billing. I could find cheaper.
Right.
You absolutely can.
Yes.
You understand? But this is not why you came here.
That's right.
Right. So there shouldn't be any of that in this industry.
Right.
The standard should be the standard. And I think that's it.
Right.
That being said, now with the boots on the ground, you've got to elevate yourself to that standard.
Okay.
It's not enough to just say, I've been here. And I'm guilty of that. You know, where I'm at right now was just really the past 6 years. Prior to that, I was just here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I didn't know that I could go do this training, go get this credential. I didn't know any of that stuff, right? Like ACES Online. I didn't know any of that stuff prior to. So, you know, there's a lot of things that are available to us in this industry to have ourselves level up and go and be able to get that bag that we deserve.
Right.
So I think the boots on the ground, the guys, you know, in the industry, you really gotta invest into yourself and get some training done.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
So right now, as we're speaking, if you were to look through this wall here, you would see right now we're doing executive protection training. Okay.
Nice.
Now these people have done it through a third party. They're just utilizing the space here. They've invested substantial dollars to give them the training, the skill set to kind of elevate.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of people in our organization want to come into executive protection, and we're like, look, you have to go and seek that skill and invest in yourself, right? I found usually when you give something to someone, they don't take it as serious and they take advantage. You yourself have traveled to the US and have poured and basically invested in yourself to going to get poured into a skill set that you utilize. And by the way, it unlocked opportunities for you to get into organizations like Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment,
100%.
right?
Yep.
Why did you do that? What was your thing? I want to invest in myself in this world. You could have easily just put on a suit like everyone else does and just say
100%.
You know?
100%. Well, this goes into, you know, my accident. Just prior to that, I started the company about a year before I had my accident, 2017. So 2016, I started the company. That was just, you know, an opportunity that came on my doorstep. I was able to be a head doorman somewhere. The company I had worked for prior to, I needed bodies. They didn't have any, or they didn't necessarily want to provide, you know, and I'm like, okay, cool. So I ended up finding my own guys. And we were doing such a great job at the venue. Didn't have the company really fully going or whatever. But we were doing such a great job at the venue that other venues in the area
started to pay attention.
They're asking because we're actually pretty much protecting the whole corner, the whole block.
Right.
So they started asking questions, and I guess, you know, they weren't happy with their provider. So, and then in turn, it just started from there. And then, you know, going into that and having that going now, I ended up having my motorcycle accident in 2017.
So you're an avid motorcycle enthusiast?
Yeah, avid motorcycle enthusiast, and I ended up on my way to work, actually, to the venue.
So this is happening when, in the summertime?
Yeah, June 2017.
So you're on your way to work?
Yeah,
on the highway?
On my way to work. Really, I was actually I took a back road.
Okay.
I ended up stopping off at a mechanic shop real quick, and then I took the back road by the airport.
And what time of day is this right now?
It's nighttime.
Nighttime,
like
okay.
10 o'clock-ish.
Okay.
And basically the road that we were on, there was no time to merge. Lighting was bad. You name it. Everything that was wrong with that road was wrong with the road.
Right.
Ended up laying down, couldn't get over because there was a vehicle, a semi-truck in the way. And then the road that I was, the lane that I was in was actually merging. Okay. So there was gravel on one side, and then it ended up just dying, like cutting off and merging. Okay. So I had nowhere to go. Right. So immediately I was already in the gravel. Okay. So I had to make a decision whether I wanted to, you know, lean over or let the bike go. So I had to kind of let the bike go and slid. Right. My foot hit the ground and spun sideways, bent, and then took my heel off.
Whoa! So hold on. You're telling me right now when you fell down, at the pace that you're going, the speed you were going, the way that your foot landed on the ground, kind of twisted, and snapped off.
No, still on. So just it
snapped off,
like a compound break.
Yes.
So basically bent like that.
Yes.
And then my heel was kind of basically shaving off to the bone. From the ground. It's just sheer road rash. Right.
And when this happened, are you aware this has happened right now? Like,
no. So I was ready to get up and, you know, kind of the adrenaline got me. I was ready to get up and kind of get on my bike. Oddly enough, my friend goes, just lay down, look at your foot. So I looked at my foot and it was bent like this. And I'm like, okay, we got to call EMS.
Are you like in shock mode when you see your foot now?
Not really shocked because it's broken. Okay. So I don't know. My shoe is still on. Yes. It's broken. Right. I don't see the heel. Right. Right. And I actually I don't know the heel's damage until the next morning, until I wake up.
Okay.
And then he shows me and he's saying, okay, we're going to rebuild your heel. Gonna put metal posts, all this stuff in it, and then we're gonna skin graft, and you're gonna have a whole heel again. And I'm thinking here, there's no way that I'm gonna be able to stand at the door. And
so you're thinking
work.
right now on
immediately,
the job. Right.
Immediately. Actually, I was actually upset when it happened because.
So right now in your mind, you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, I have to get back to work.
Yeah, 100%.
How's it going to look like?
Right away.
Okay.
Right away. Like almost immediate. Because again, I'm on my way to work. And I had to be at the door to make my money. I'm not billing for guys that I don't have my company set up just yet. So I'm upset. I wake up, they tell me the things that they're going to do to fix my foot. And immediately, I follow a gentleman named Jose Luis on Instagram. Prior to my accident, and he's ex-military, was hit by an IED and lost one of his legs and damaged the other immensely.
Okay.
And this guy's an animal.
Wow.
And this is prior to me
Yes.
getting into this accident. An animal. The minute they tell me what they got to do to fix my leg, plus more infections possibly, and then they may have to amputate, I'm like, cut it off.
So hold on. So right now, you're actually being told by the doctor that there could be a chance that they can amputate your leg.
Yes.
And in your mind, because you've already been conditioned to this Luis guy, you're thinking, if that's the case, just get rid of it.
Just get rid of it now. I'd rather not have to deal with possible infections and come back and do more surgeries. And this is my first break. I've never broken anything in my life.
Right.
Maybe my collarbone, excuse me. But nothing like where I've had to, be in a cast and walk on crutches. I, sprain an ankle here or there, but nothing like this. So immediately he's telling me this, and I'm like, okay, well, my heel's already gone. You're gonna have to rebuild. I won't be able to run, stand for 5 hours, let's say, at the door.
Yeah.
There's no way I can do this. There's no way. Immediately, just cut it off. Mr. Pinto, we're glad you can make that decision, but we're gonna have to try and save your foot.
Okay, so right now they might be thinking, hold on, is this guy is the pain medication maybe too strong right now?
right. My eyes are blurry.
Yeah,
I can't even see yet. My eyes are still blurry.
Does any of your family members know you're in the hospital right now?
They're all there.
They're all there.
When I woke up, they're all there. My wife, my dad, my grandmother, my cousin, who was actually, it's crazy. My cousin. Shout out Justin. He's worked with me since then. He was supposed to be on shift. So when I woke up, I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be at the venue.
Yeah.
He's like, no, it's the next day. It's like I'm on my way to work now. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And now you can actually see your foot right now. You can see the heel's gone.
No, I'm in a cast. I'm already in a cast. I don't see it. He showed me a picture. The only picture I saw. Don't even remember what it looks like.
Okay.
It's gone.
So the doctor now says, let's just try and see what we can do first.
Yeah.
Okay.
3.5 weeks later, 12, 13 surgeries. I thought they were going to be able to save it.
Yeah.
And I was really, at first, I was hoping no. And then as time goes, I'm hoping, okay, maybe they can.
Right.
And then by the 12th, 13th surgery, I'm like, this is not going to happen. Then they're like, okay, we got to amputate. The infection's getting higher. So to save it so it doesn't go above knee,
right,
we have to cut it now.
Wow.
Okay, let's get to it. Perfect. As soon as they cut it, it was probably June 29th, and it was long weekend that weekend. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home now. They're like, well, you got to go to rehab and do all these things. And then if you go home, then you got to fill out the paperwork yourself, all this crazy stuff.
Chris, can you just sort of go backwards?
Yeah.
Can you say, where did they cut it from? The knee down?
No, just below my calf.
Below your calf down?
Just below my calf. Okay. So like I literally can still flex my calf.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just below my calf, really just my ankle and my foot. But again, so as soon as they cut it, amputated it, I was ready to go home. Like I was tired of being in the hospital.
Wow, man.
Just needed to be home so I can heal and focus on getting back to it. While I'm in the hospital, I got a couple other things going. So I'm emailing, still scheduling, making sure the guys are good, invoicing, things like that. Still keeping my purpose, my drive. My goal was to get back to it.
Is there any I'm honestly thinking, if this happened to me, is there any point where you're starting to feel like sorry for yourself, in the sense of, when I mean sorry, is like, oh my God, my foot's kind of gone right now. How is this going to impact my life? Is any of this reflecting on you for have a moment where you could potentially fall into a depression?
Yeah, yes and no. So where I came from, the way I grew up, very different than most, very similar to most. you had to find a way.
Yeah.
You had to make a way, right? And as I said, like from an early age, I decided on how I wanted my life to be. And every opportunity, every moment that was before me, that was what my mindset was. How could this change everything, right? And I guess that's also how I got through it, just compartmentalizing everything, putting it in a box, crushing it, moving on to the next one.
I'm sure this affected probably your family more than it did you.
I believe it did. I really do, because again, I haven't really had a moment, even since then till now, to kind of sit back. It'll hit me every day. I'll be like, oh my God, I have no leg. Just sitting with my wife and I'll be like, I have no legs. She's like, I know,
but you have phantom feels, right? What they say, where you can feel your
foot. But that's not even like what most would really think. So like my nerves will go crazy, or I'll get a pinky toe cramp.
Right.
And that's the phantom pain.
Jeez,
but it's just because my nerves are still there.
Right.
So it's pretty functioning still, right?
Yeah.
We're just waiting for them to be able to, how they have the hand prosthetics.
Yes.
They can have foot prosthetics.
Right.
They do. A couple of them do, but it's not too functional, right? Like
and by the way, it's probably not too far off that technology becoming very real.
100%. 100%. So, just getting back to it, I was ready to go home.
Yes.
I needed to get home, get healing, get training. So I ended up going into the stay in rehab, St. John's up Bayview there. And you're putting me on lightweight workouts, and I'm still pretty strong, still same. I lost a little bit of weight, but I still have my strength.
Right.
So I'm pounding through the physio. They're like, okay, you got to learn how to wheelchair walk, do all these things. I'm pounding through it, passing through it, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go home now. Right. They have my prosthetic ready. I go get it on, fit it. It's tough to walk. It's hard. I'm supposed to come back. I'm like, no, I'm taking this home. I got to go home.
Yes.
I need to take it home with me. So I took it home. Took me a long time to kind of a couple of weeks to kind of get used to it. Because the stitching was healing on the
and it was
wound.
Hurting to just feel the pressure.
It was tight.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It was tight, right? So, thank my neighbors for understanding in the condo that we lived in. The longest stretch of hallway, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm in there trying to learn to walk again.
Right.
And it's painful. I'm like falling over. I'm banging on the walls. Neighbors are coming out looking at me. I'm crying. It was a battle, but I got through it.
Yeah.
June 29th, they amputated. I was home shortly after. I got my leg in August. I was back to work October 4th. Back at the door, October 4th. So within that 4-month process of me rehabbing, getting the guys, still working and doing my thing and maintaining my mental strength.
Yeah.
That my purpose was just to get back to it.
Chris, tell me just as a stop here right now. First of all, that's incredible.
Thanks.
Like, to me, I think when you're telling me that you're going through that battle of getting into a new life of adjustment, right? It seems to me that you're probably more, and tell me if I'm wrong or not, that you were more upset and frustrated that you couldn't make the new leg work, opposed to you even having the accident to begin with.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it's like you want to battle this mountain right now.
100%.
And I keep on sliding down.
Yeah. The past was the past. What happened.
Yes.
And this is what we're dealing with right now. So again, that was my biggest thing, was just to get back, getting back to me.
Did you have moments where you said, screw this, I'm not going to make this work, I'm done? Like, did that ever cross your mind?
I don't really think so.
So what kept you to pass that mountain? What was it that made you get back up and keep pushing?
Realistically, so if you go back in all my stories, it was be unstoppable, be undeniable, be unlimited. And I'd put that in there. Right? But the undeniable part, the unstoppable part, that was, and this goes into, where I talk to the guys about, getting your credentials and stuff. I'm a liability at the end of the day, for most, depending on how you view it. I'm an amputee. Unless you really understand and see the work that I've put in or the work that I'm capable of and done, why would you pick me and put me on your team?
Right.
I can't make a jump shot, and I can't make a layup. I can't run fast. Just based on, what you're looking at.
Right.
So for me, the biggest thing was to remain undeniable. How do I do that? I go get all my credentials. I go get my training. I go get these certs. I do the work and I do it well. I'm undeniable.
Okay.
You can't tell me that I can't do the job correctly. You
Right.
can't tell me that I'm not worth, what I'm worth.
Right.
Regardless of my situation.
That's right.
And that was my biggest drive.
Okay.
Biggest drive. Right.
Make yourself relevant in spite of whatever.
Have to.
Yes.
Not even relevant.
Above
yeah,
reverence.
you know what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like what Elijah just made a post the other day, and I reposted it. You just do what the ordinary do, extra.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like we just do it ordinary.
That's right.
Like, it's just every day, and it's not to put anybody else down, but it's this is just how we live our lives. This is just how I live at such a high level.
Yes.
Every time.
Okay.
And there's no come down.
So good, man.
There's no come
How
down.
important was support in your life to help you in this transition?
It was great. I mean, it was so necessary. My wife and my son, they're by my side daily, and my motivation, other than my my purpose of work and such, was my family.
Right.
Right. Again, seeing where I came from, the family household that I grew up in, the dynamic is not the same
Right.
that I have with my son and my wife.
Right.
Right. It's entirely different.
I know. I can relate.
Right.
Yeah.
So you try to be that example. You try and set that tone every step of the way, and just like I said, be who you needed. Now even though the examples that I had were from my uncles and my dad and the men in my life, my son's gonna really see my example.
Right.
Right. He's living it.
Yes.
Right. So when he goes through these moments, he has something to really key core moments to look back at and be like, okay, this is easy. I can do this.
Yeah.
Right. Because I've seen it.
How important was physical fitness to you before the accident?
Oh, wow. I'll be honest. I didn't like the gym at all.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah.
I didn't I was an avid basketball player.
Right.
You know what I mean? I got my exercise that way. Mixed martial arts here and there. But I didn't really like the gym too much.
Like it wasn't more or less like a lifestyle thing. It
No,
was more like
definitely
something
not.
I might have to do
Yeah.
because I don't want to.
Yeah, like I did it like twice a week.
It's like a chore
to,
almost.
yeah, to keep in shape and
Yeah.
to keep on your toes.
Yeah.
But again, when you're behind everybody else now, or you seemingly behind everybody else,
Yeah.
you've got to really set yourself apart.
Right.
Not only with the accident, I'd have to keep because my body would just lock up and shut down. Like,
Right.
My hips,
Yeah.
they're all different now,
Right.
with the prosthetic and such. So I really had to be in the gym daily. So even my support system with that, like I had my cousin Josh, he was shout out Kamakachi Clothing. He was a great support system in that, getting me into the gym daily. B Vibe Juicery, my brother Poby and my other brother Skip, great. Those guys kept me in the gym daily. And I mean, when I didn't feel like going to the gym, they came to pick me up. Literally showed up at my doorstep. 6 p.m. we're at the gym every day.
Right.
Right. So I was in the gym daily.
Right.
Getting my body right. And if I didn't go, like I said, my body would lock up. I'd feel it, and I think that's kind of where I would kind of get down. But that's me just being in my house. That was the first probably 6-7 months, I'd say, after the accident, where I really needed that push to get out and get going. And then it became a game. It became like a real drive. I have a couple of videos on another Instagram page, No Excuses, X Excuses, X Days Off. It's my motivational page.
Okay.
But that's where the training and the physical fitness started elevating everything else for me. So it was kind of, the monsters were feeding each other.
Right.
And it was like, I almost had, it was like an out of body experience if I look back. Like,
Yeah.
they took control of everything, and I was just along for the ride. And,
Wow, man.
And here I am.
So I'm going to ask you a very weird question right now.
Go ahead.
Everything in life is being told that happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And whatever happens, you got to look at it as in seeing, like, here's the pluses and the negatives or this. Do you look back at what happened and said, not to say anyone's ever glad that something happens, but it seems like this has elevated you,
Yeah, for sure.
evolved you in your mind, in your body, in your approach to everything. Are you, for anyway, I don't even want to use the word happy, but the way things happened, are you accepting them and saying, I'm glad that they happened the way they were?
They had to happen the way they did.
Wow.
They had to. Gonna be honest, choices that were made that led me here, right? Same with the motorcycle. I was on it too often, going to the store. I'm off today. Okay, I'm going here. I'm on the bike. And it's a sport bike, so it's not it's not a cruiser. Like I'm still riding. I got a cruiser now, but it's a different ride. You know what I mean? It's such a different mindset is everything. Everything. How you wake up in the morning, how you start your day is everything. So that was a big thing. Like I said, just those choices that I made back then, led me to where I'm at now, and I don't regret it. I'm thankful for it. I'm truly living in my purpose now, and there's nothing. I just see the top.
Wow, man.
It's
Chris, I ride as well. I haven't in many years. I used to own some bikes, not sport. They were more like Honda Hawks or CB750s and all that. My wife, I keep on saying I got that itch. She does not want me to get into riding at all. And I know it's a little bit off topic here right now, but if your son gets an appetite for riding, how would you feel?
By all means. I mean, the thing about it is everything in moderation.
Yes.
Right? You've kind of got to know your limits. Not that I was out, like I said, I wasn't out there riding fast or anything like that. Accidents happen.
Right.
So as long as you're prepared, because it's the same thing as we do in security. Preparation is key, right? The advance is everything.
Right.
So as long as you're doing the work prior to for whatever you're doing, doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yes.
Whatever you're doing, as long as you do the work necessary prior to make sure that you're good.
Yes.
You're good. Equipment, paying attention to the road,
right?
Knowledge, everything, traffic, weather, whatever it takes.
Yes.
You've really got to do it 100%.
Right.
You got it. Like I said, you got to engulf yourself in everything that you're doing.
Man,
you have to.
I'm telling you, Chris, I know your story.
Thanks, bro.
To a degree, but to hear it in detail right now, you have no idea how much inspiration you're pouring out, man. Like, I mean, anyone that's going through something that they may deem as an obstacle, to hear a story like this, again, and not to say we're comparing problems or obstacles or lives, but how you look at something to navigate it is the difference. And this is why I wanted you to come on the show, is because I want people to hear your story and understand that life will throw pebbles and mountains at you,
100%.
and it's how you think and how you program your mind to overcome them, because you could have had a very different experience.
Yes.
You could have said, you know what, my life is done now. I'm not the same. I don't know if I can do anything. Who's going to accept? Like, your mind could have reversed
100%.
completely, but you chose to go there. That's what's so amazing about your story, man.
Thank you.
And Chris, you're a guy that I would identify as someone that is a very happy, somebody that I want to be around, positive thinking, you're smiling. Like, these are massive attributes that are, I think people should just strive for. So the fact that you are here today in 2023 and you've been able to overcome this and be, again, that's very commendable, man. And I'm really happy you shared that.
Thank you. Yeah, it was a ride. It was a ride. And I think, just having that mindset again of, being who you needed coming up, and, not doing things, for a dollar. Not doing things, doing things just for the love of doing them.
Yes.
Right? Because that's who you are. That's where your moral compass is guiding you.
Right.
I think that's key.
Yeah, man.
That's key.
Absolutely. So we were talking, because we're both in the game, and I know we both have hearts to change and elevate the industry. We're talking about kind of some of the mindset of people right now that are coming into the scene. What would be a message that you would put out for people that, want to come into the protectors game and the security game, and things from experiences? Like, you see people every day. You see some people that are like, man, you're meant for this. And my messaging to anyone that comes in this company is, if you're looking at this as I just want some money and that's it, you're very close to identifying your behaviors to say that's it. I don't care. Why should I go there? I'm only making X, Y, Z dollars. Why should I bother doing this?
100%.
What's some advice that you would give out to people, or some observations that you've seen that you can say, take this?
I would absolutely tell you guys to level up, like, invest in yourself. The credentials are key. It's not enough to just say you do the job, and like your Ontario security guard card license, like, get that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? At the very least, You know, there's if I'm not mistaken, ACES has an EP course as well.
That's right. That's right. CPP course.
Right, the CPP course. You can take that course as well, and that's here in Canada. And there's others.
Right.
Sentinel's got their own.
Right.
Right. So like, level up in some way, shape, or form, so that when you have these conversations with people like myself or Constantine, you know, we have something to base it on, really.
Right.
You know, and we hear it a lot. You know, I did CP for such and such, and you know, they were a guest at the venue, or it was TIFF, and that is great to get your feet wet. Right. No problem. But it's not enough to just not do your due diligence. Like, read a book.
Exactly.
You know, pick up advance. That's a great, I picked up, so, you know, just going back a little bit, prior to any of my, getting any of my credentials, Carl put me on to Martin Luther King III when he came to Toronto.
Okay.
They did a Remain overnight in Kingston, and, you know, that advance, prior to me reading a book, taking a course, that advance took me 6 months. I found every hospital from here to Kingston on the 401, every police station, every army base. You know, I pulled all my contacts that I had from there, even from when I went to Loyalist.
Okay.
Any contact, like, because I just wanted to be prepared.
Right.
And these are just things that common sense said to do.
Yes.
Then when I started taking the courses and then I started reading the books, affirmation was the best thing for me. That's what gave me my confidence.
Okay.
It affirmed everything that I was doing then was 100% correct. But now I know, okay, let's tighten it up.
Okay.
Let's really get some things behind you and really lock in. And I think that's where it changed for me, right? Because now, you know, I feel like I'm on the level of certain individuals that are in the game, you know, and getting the recognition of, you know, whether it's them putting me onto an opportunity or saying, oh, I see you. That's huge. That's huge. And that lets you know you're on the right path. You're doing the right thing. And you're not just, like I said, you're not just here for $1, right? Because if you were, then you'd really actually go get these credentials, because the money changes, right? So, yeah, that was the biggest thing for me.
Who would you say are some inspirational people like you look up to, like?
Man,
you know what I mean? That they drive you.
Yeah. So Shamir,
Okay.
Shadow Group, God rest his soul. That's one of my big brothers, my mentor. He really put the battery in my back to start. You know, with Instagram being, you know, the biggest thing at the time.
Yeah.
The way to, you know, to kind of connect to people, I was seeing what he was doing, and, you know, kind of our blueprint is his blueprint. Just to see the way he brought guys together, you know, in the industry, put people on, gave people opportunities for them to level up. Some of the guys that, you know, used to work for him.
And they're based out of where?
He's based out of Florida.
Okay.
But Shadow Group was all over America.
Yeah.
They had Shadow Group UK.
Okay.
All over. You know, we're a subsidiary, Shadow Group Toronto, right?
Yeah.
But he really put the battery in my back, gave me the opportunity. And then from there, it's like, you know, okay, now you want to show and prove every time. Like, every time.
Right.
And how do you do that? Well, you got to get the necessary know-how, the knowledge, the training.
That's right.
So, you know, Elijah had his Icon Global course with executive protection, ESI going in Colorado, 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
And boom, I put in. They had a program that you can actually get like a bursary.
Yeah.
And they can take care of for you. I sent them an essay, sent me the confirmation letter. So I went and did that training. Then they had the Shadow Group training after Shamir had passed. I finally got to go to that. And that was another executive protection course. That was live fire training and, you know, exfil and stop the bleed, emergency medical. So all these little things that were available to me, I took advantage of. 100%.
And just as a side note, I spoke to Elijah. We actually met a couple of years ago, and we've remained in contact. I'm trying to get him back in Toronto, man.
Yes.
So he can do like a session.
Yeah.
He speaks very highly of you.
Oh, man,
okay.
that's
And to me, like, that's a testament again to who you are, because he sees so many people. And the one thing that this industry attracts more than ever, it's just on the number one thing it attracts is ego.
Yes.
Okay. And you do get the strong alpha mindset individual that comes in. And that's why I honestly, Chris, like, I see a lot of people, and I usually like to stay in my own circles, and I avoid a lot of the alpha scene because it's just not me.
Yeah.
But that's why I look at you as someone that is the opposite of that. That's so approachable. And to me, like, you know, people should be more inspired to kind of follow a journey like you are than the other outside? Because there's so much, instead of working together and be able to build the industry up, there's so much division and tear down. And if it's like, are we not protectors?
Right.
You know what I mean?
And this is so what I like to touch, right? Like I like to tell my guys, you know, I did the work, so kind of you don't have to necessarily, like the hard work. And that's, you know, some would say, you know, that's not necessarily a good thing. However, if you get to see the bad stuff, because you've already seen it, it's there, right? But you now have an option to choose a better path.
Right.
For me, it's a no-brainer. You know, me being an Icon alumni, and Elijah having the trust in me, and me having the trust in my guys, that's that arm's length away that he speaks of.
That's
almost,
right. That's right.
You know, and then I trust my guys to do the job. They do the job. They have the credentials. They look good. They got 2 suits. You know, things like that. Like, these are all things that elevate everybody. Now, you don't necessarily have to go do that course, but at least you're here and you're elevating and it's recognized.
Right.
So now when you decide to take that level up, it's ready to go.
Yes.
But now you're also setting an example for everybody else.
Okay.
And this was just, you know, me being able to put my guys on an Icon gig. It was simple things like having a bio.
That's right.
Just a bio.
That's right.
Just having a bio.
Yeah.
Right?
Timmy likes to eat donuts by the water park.
Right?
They're not looking for that.
No, none of that, right?
Yeah,
like, you know, and you have your suits, you have your pictures, your
That's
headshot.
right. That's right.
These are things in this industry that are necessary.
That's right.
To step you up, to get you to that next level.
That's right,
It's
man.
not enough to just be here.
And the funny thing is that clients are more and more in tune of what they need to have in an agent. So if someone says, show me your bio, they don't have to be in the EP world.
Yeah.
They just need to know of it. They can tell if someone's actually a player or if someone's trying to be a player.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%. And again, the language that you use, the nomenclature that you use when you're speaking with people and things like that, that is a dead giveaway as well. And if you're not going to class, if you're not taking any courses, you don't know what anybody's talking about.
Exactly.
Like, somebody said, did you do an advance?
That's right.
Like advanced pay? Like some
exactly.
people don't understand.
Oh, they don't know.
Some
they don't know the
really
lingo.
don't.
100%.
Right? So it's go get some training.
I'm going to touch on a little story. You're going to probably find this comical. We got reached out to a group in Vancouver, and typically what hires for executive protection, they said this time, we just need someone that's a driver. So, okay, no problem. We have someone that's a secure driver, no problem. He goes, he's going to be basically assisting the director of security for, I think at that time it was Bill Gates, okay? And he's just assisting him on the driving capacity. So then he calls back, the client calls me back and he goes, wait a second, we actually know, we want him to be also an executive protection agent.
Right.
I go, okay, that's fine. We can do that, but it won't be then this. But just so you know what you're asking for, do you want him driving or do you want him being a support?
Right.
Long story short, he just said, okay, we'll just go back to the driver. So we spoke to the individual, his name is Justin, super cool guy. He was just hired for a driver. He shows up and we tell him, if anybody asks you, you're just a driver, because that's what they're hiring. Yeah. So the head of security says to Justin, says, okay, so ask him a couple of questions. And then Justin is just answering them in his own way. And he says to him, you've never done executive protection before, have you? And Justin goes, well, no, I mean, I'm here to drive. The message got flawed by the client saying that they wanted an executive protection support. But the questions that he was asking him, he looked the part.
Yeah.
He just couldn't identify.
Right.
And the guy was so nice. He goes, you know what, look. And he had a one-pager cheat sheet. He goes, look, I know this is maybe a mix-up here, but here's some things that you need to help you out. And he kind of broke it down of what he needs to do to navigate, because the client's going to come in and he's going to wonder what's off.
What's going on?
The important note here is that a client knows when someone is actually the real deal
100%.
and when someone's are not. And if you never hear from them again, that's an indicator that they probably 100%. Said, I don't want to use you. And by the way, this is an industry, and I'm talking about the executive protection industry, you really don't have a second chance.
No, you don't.
You have one screw up and you're done.
Yeah, and that's it. That's it. And a lot of guys don't really understand that. And it's like the little thing, well, first and foremost, sometimes the clients, you know, they ask for what they ask for a little bit much, or they don't ask for enough.
Right.
And then you, as we mentioned, you get the clients like sometimes they're like, oh, I can kind of find it cheaper.
Right.
So they get the guys that kind of do the half end job. It's not the full thing. So it's a double-edged sword, but in my honest opinion, if you're going to step foot in this industry, why would you not want to have all the tools at your disposal?
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, to play the part, like if this was just a whole misunderstanding, the driver's a driver, but like even putting yourself in that as a driver, let's say, you should really know, defensive driving tactics.
That's right.
You should know, all these little things conducive to that industry.
Right.
In that world, you got to be 100% expert.
That's right.
You have to be. There's no, and especially in our industry, there's no moments for slip ups.
No, absolutely not.
Right?
Absolutely not.
Bad guys have they only need just one time.
And that's why the significance of pre-planning and advances is so important. It's not just what's your plan B. It's what's your plan B, C, D, E, and F, because you could exercise any one of them at any time. 100%. So that's good, man. So why don't we do this? To close off, we talked a lot. And we spoke about your mountains that you overcame. I do want to touch a little bit about when you did some work, with NBA, Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, with the Raptors.
Yes,
that's a very different experience as well. But did you pull from experiences in the executive protection training that you had and security that helped you in that job? And what was that like?
100%. So we got the opportunity. Shout out Chris Pinto from Exec Protect. He called us, from the States and had said he's got some NBA players in town that they need some assistance. So being who we are, we got it, put a 4-man team together, and we handled business. Advance was great. They had dinner reservations, then they had a venue reservation. With a 4-man team, that's that's how
you don't get a lot of 4-man teams.
You don't get a lot of 4-man teams, right? Yeah. So, we ran the advance on both venues. We leapfrogged, had guys waiting, ready to go. And it was just such an opportunity that, like, we did such a great job. When people go home safe, and there's no news is good news, everybody's image is protected. Everything is, it's such a breath of fresh air. Right. And so we did such a great job there that, I guess our name ended up getting back to MLSE and the Raptors organization. So we got called in to kind of see what it is that we do. And I let them know, this is what we do.
Yeah.
Executive protection is one level to what we do, but it's what we do.
Right.
And they said, they're looking for a young guy, and I'm just like, you know what? He goes, do you know anybody? I'm like, yeah. Me, perfect. He goes, how are you going to do this with your company? And I'm like, listen, like I'm prepared to do it all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like my company, standalone, I still want to work.
Yes.
Right. I'm like, this is me still wanting to work.
Right.
So, went through the process, 3-stage interview, and ended up getting hired on. And that was probably other than, Martin Luther King III, that was just probably the next, echelon.
Yeah, exactly.
In my business. And it was great. The machine is it's so tight that like, it's such an opportunity to be there, to be on top of things. It's not like dealing with a specific individual, like a specific client where, you're kind of on his schedule. The season's already set out. We've got everything that we need, practices, shoot arounds, things of that nature, interviews, things like that. It's all already set out. So you kind of just get to focus on what you need to focus on, the advancement, route plans, making sure everybody's okay, making sure everybody's got what they need. Yeah. And we get to the venue and get home back safe. It was just kind of laid out for you.
And you get to work basically along guys like John Attila, for example, who was like an OG of the Raptors for so many years.
God bless John.
Yeah.
Big John, Pops, and Bill as well.
Yeah.
They really showed me the ropes. They really put me onto an opportunity to level up again.
Okay.
They have such, foresight, such experience in this industry for years, prior to being with the Raptors.
He's a cop, right?
But he was also with the NBA.
Oh, okay.
So he was also with the league prior to being with the Raptors. And then before that, he was with TPS.
Yeah.
But again, they, it was just such a great experience that, every client after's got a lot to step up to in terms of really how they should be moving.
For sure.
Right? Like how they should be operating. Now, everybody's lifestyle is different, of course. But I think there's just a lot of things that can be done just to make things more smoother
100%.
for everybody.
And by the way, this world, this industry that we're talking about, executive protection industry, is not something that it's your 9 to 5, honey, I'm home kind of job. Like there's massive amount of commitment and understanding from your spouse that you're going to be gone away, you're going to be traveling, and it's a hectic lifestyle. But you experience something, man, that I would say it would be a dream to many. It would be a dream to many. And it's a skill set that you have right now that is layered on to already what you have.
Yeah, it was great. Traveling, you know, especially because, you know, we're a Canadian team traveling into America often, you know, having certain things like, you know, contacts at the airport to assist with check-ins and baggage. And it wasn't just the Raptors I worked with. So I worked at the 905, which was a complete different experience in itself. You know, we didn't have the charter plane, like, you know what I mean? So we're, you know, and some of these guys are two ways. So they're traveling in with both teams, but their faces are known. So, you know, it's a huge dynamic that I had to kind of be faced with and kind of prepare for. But it was great, you know, it was great head on, you know, making those relationships and those experiences, and, you know, thinking back, it was such an opportunity that there's just a high standard now for clients. In my 100%, opinion, man. Right? So just like clients vet us. I absolutely vet my clients.
Listen, Simon Sinek's saying, don't do business with people that want what you have. Do business with people that believe what you believe, right? And to me, that's the key thing here, right? Because if someone looks at security as just security, I don't know if I want to do business with you, right? But if you truly understand the mechanics of protection,
and what I do,
and what you do, and you respect it, and you're going to respect the team, and it changes the game.
100%.
Tell us how people can find you directly or find UES, right? Upper Echelon Services.
Yeah, you can find us on Instagram at ues.lifestyle.management. Motivational page is X excuses, X days off. And you can find us on there, and that's probably the easiest way to contact. I'd say you can send an email, cp@upperechelonservices.com or info@upperechelonservices.com. And get in touch with us. We'll take care of you.
Nice. Chris, I want to thank you, man, for coming down.
Thanks.
I'm blessed to have you here. And I actually you've inspired me to do something right now that I missed my workout this morning. So shame on me, but I think I'm going to go do a workout right now. I think I'm going to cut the day short and just go do a workout. You know what I mean?
Bang out some hundreds. I call them
man.
Hundreds
you guys look sharp. I've seen your people.
Thank you.
And blessings onto your business, onto your life, man.
Thank you so much, man.
You're making an impact in the industry, and I'm glad to know you and call you a friend.
My brother, thank you so much. Likewise.
Amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chris Pinto, you heard it all today. Have a fantastic week and level up. Take care, everyone.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.